This week, Jonny chats to Respawn Entertainment about what we can expect from Titanfall 2. We head off to a galaxy far, far away with LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens, and we learn a bit more about the Technomancer, a post-apocalyptic sci-fi action RPG that's out right now. This is Player Attack. Hi, I'm Jessica Citizen, and this week the Australian Classification Board decided that a PlayStation Vita game was inappropriate for local audiences. May Q Labyrinth of Death, the second in the Makai Ichiban Kan series, has a T for teen rating in the US and is suitable for gamers aged 12 and above in Japan, but the Australian board found something a little uncomfortable about the dungeon crawler. While these days the board takes issues with games featuring drug use, violence, or a combination of the two, May Q is a little bit different. It's been refused classification due to sexualised content featuring what appears to be an underage character. Publisher Idea Factory has sincerely apologised for any inconvenience the effective ban may cause Australian fans, but it seems to have no intention of appealing the decision or submitting a modified version. Moving right along, here is a very large number for you. 8.6 billion. That's how many dollars Chinese company Tencent has spent to buy an 84.3% stake in Finnish developer Supercell, the studio that created Clash of Clans. That is even more than the ridiculous 5.9 billion that Activision Blizzard spent to acquire King Digital, the makers of Candy Crush. 20 is a much smaller number, but it is no less important. That's how old first-person shooter Quake is this year, and former developer John Romero has celebrated by releasing a few tasty tidbits from the id Software archives. One of these tidbits is a chunky text file named Quake Talk 95, compiled by superfan Just Sure, who wanted to create a single document that collated every reference he could find to the then upcoming shooter. According to Romero, just 1 month after the FAQ was released, it held a meeting that determined the final direction of the game, and we're told the finished version bears very little resemblance to some of the designs Shaw referred to. But that is not the only Quake celebration. The team at Machine Games has also built a new Quake episode, which you can download right now and play for free. It might not be much, but it could be just enough to hold you over until the upcoming launch of arena-based FPS, Quake Champions. A little crowdfunding news now, and Night Dive Studios has officially rebranded the game it's been working on for a while. It is no longer working on a System Shock remaster. Instead, the project is now a reboot of the classic game. With the Kickstarter campaign now live, there is also a brief playable demo for you to get your hands on. The developers say that the change is due to the resources and passion the team is putting into the project, and that things have elevated beyond the expectations someone would have for a remaster. There's no dates for this one just yet, of course, but keep an eye out for updates. And speaking of crowdfunding, we are sorry to say that the Fable collector card game Kickstarter has been cancelled, just a few days shy of its goal. That's the bad news. The good news? It was cancelled because the team at Flaming Fowl managed to secure outside funding for Fable Fortune, meaning the Kickstarter was no longer necessary. The developers are now focusing on creating a closed beta build of the game, which they're hoping to have in our hands as quickly as possible. But if you were among the 1,500 Kickstarter backers, you won't miss out on your hipster status. You will still be able to keep your money and be among the first in the world to play Fable Fortune with alpha build access guaranteed before the closed beta is on offer. One of the more surprising reveals at this year's E3 was a Spider-Man game in the works at Insomniac. We are happy to report that while we still don't know much about the upcoming comic tie-in, what we do know is making us very happy. It is a standalone story, not tied to any film or existing comic. It's actually set in an entirely new world that draws heavily from Marvel's Years of Archives. That world is an open-world adaptation of New York, and it may well include more than just Manhattan Island. We don't know who Spidey will be fighting, but we do know that it will be Peter Parker behind the web slingers, and he's been in the job for a while now, so he might be a bit older than you're expecting. The best thing that we know about Insomniac's new take on Spider-Man though, the demo that was shown off at the PlayStation press conference this year was running totally on a stock standard PS4. That's pretty cool. Another thing that was shown off at E3 was, again, Mass Effect Andromeda, and we're happy to report that after 3 years of teasers, we're finally starting to see some real details emerge. Firstly, and most importantly, while Andromeda is set in the same universe as the original trilogy, new character Ryder is waking up in a new galaxy. This means it doesn't matter what colour icing you had on your cupcake, everybody starts with the same clean slate. There will be a few things tying the game back to the originals, but in terms of story, all of those choices you made will amount to nothing. Secondly, a series of Mass Effect novels are on the horizon, set to fill in the gaps between the original games and Andromeda. The first Mass Effect Andromeda Initiative is due out in August. It's not yet known which version of history the books will follow. And in movie news, something that should surprise absolutely nobody, the Warcraft movie is officially the highest grossing video game film in history. Sure, people might just be buying tickets just to see if it's actually as bad as everybody says it is. Spoiler, it's actually pretty good. But whatever their reason, tickets are tickets. Warcraft has taken more than $380 million since launch, with around 90% of that coming from outside the US. The driving geographic force behind the film's popularity has come from China, who has gone nuts for the adventures of Durotan, Corona, King Lane, and Medivh. It's already the 6th highest grossing release of 2016 in China, and those ticket sales are the ones likely to dictate whether or not we get a sequel. Duncan Jones has already said he'll return if he's invited, so here's hoping things don't take another 10 years. For more information on any of these stories, or to keep up to date with the latest gaming news, head to playerattack.com. But for now, stick around, we've got plenty more still to come.
There has been an awakening. Have you felt it?
LEGO games wouldn't be where they are now without the Star Wars franchise, and so it is really, really exciting to have LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens here on the show floor. I'm with Jamie from TT Fusion. That's exactly what we're looking at, what we're talking about, and thank you so much for making the obvious next step and bringing the latest Star Wars to LEGO.
No, it's amazing for us to go back to where it all started. As you say, this was really the first game TT did, which made the LEGO games what they are now. You see, with Dimensions, Marvel, everything else, this all started from LEGO Star Wars. It's amazing to go back to it.
I mean, when I say that it was inevitable in a good way. I think almost as soon as people found out there was a new Star Wars movie, people were, fingers crossed there was going to be a new LEGO game.
Yeah, I think as soon as we heard there was a new Star Wars movie, the same as everyone else, we were like, oh, is there going to be a game? We really hope there's going to be a game so we get to go back to working on it. But at the same time, there's a lot of people who worked on it in the studio who are like, I don't want to know anything about the plot of the film. And it's obviously really tricky to go, there's only so many sections we can give you where they're just some people talking in a cupboard with no plot details, so... Yeah.
But are you actually supportive in-house of people who are wanting to avoid spoilers like that?
We try to. I mean, people have to acknowledge that they're working on one of the biggest IPs in the world. We need to make the best game possible, and they have to take one for the team. I mean, me especially. I had to find out everything.
Oh.
Yep. So, unfortunately.
But can't all be bad. You did get to play it before anybody else. I'm assuming you maybe got to watch it before everybody else.
We got to see some things. We worked very closely with Lucasfilm on what to see. So yeah, it was a privilege to work with them. They're fantastic. They're the guys who know Star Wars. So yeah.
And you're the guy who knows Lego Star Wars. So we should probably talk about the game itself.
Are you guys ready?
How closely does it follow the plot of the film?
So it sticks very closely to the plot of the film. We cover all the aspects you see through The Force Awakens. All the story hits, go to all the planets. We get to explore Jakku, Takodana, Starkiller, the Resistance base, and even the interior of the Millennium Falcon. That's like pretty much one-to-one. We've got it as close as we can get it with cross-sections of the film. Also, there's new Star Wars adventures which tell the story that leads into The Force Awakens. So a really good example is Han Solo and how he captured the Raptor creatures. So he mentions in the film he used to have a bigger crew. This is how we find out what happened to that bigger crew.
So how does it feel being literally handed permission to expand on little bits of Star Wars history?
It's amazing. It's like, this is the sort of thing you can't think about. Okay, we're going to get to work on Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens. We'll do the film, and then to be able to go, here's new things that we've come up with that fit into Star Wars. It's like, as a nerd, it's like dream come true.
Just in case there is someone out there, that one person who has never seen a Lego Star Wars game, never understands what a Lego Star Wars game is. What is it?
So, Lego Star Wars games, they retell the story of the films, but they do it in a really fun, cutesy way. Some of the humour that you get from them is just how we handle the really serious segments. Force Awakens has a few serious bits that we won't say in case there's the two people out there who've not seen the film, but that's part of the charm. People expect us to play them really straight, and then we don't. That's where the humour comes from. They're really fun to play. They're family games as well. I mean, I play them with my daughter, my son. Everyone plays them cooperatively, and they're just fun games.
Also, you guys work pretty closely with the Australian studio Plastic Wax to get the cinematics looking absolutely perfect. What's that like?
So they were fantastic. They did the launch trailer, which was like, we spoofed the initial teaser of the film, and even seeing just mock-ups and things like that, it was like we knew we wanted something special. People loved that when it came out, and that's part of what we try and do.
Why Technomancers are degenerates? We are all inbred. Not mentioning the fact that we are also used as war weapons.
I'm here with Jean. We're talking the Technomancer, which is out right now from Focus Home Interactive. If you have missed out on catching up with what the Technomancer is all about, it's action RPG set on Mars. Is that right?
Exactly. It's a kind of sci-fi post-apocalyptic setting, and you're playing as a young officer in a kind of corporation which is set on Mars, and you will have to fight to protect your secrets and friends, and you will have to choose your allies, and different factions can protect you or become your enemies. So it will be hard to survive.
You're given a lot of options and choices that you have to make while you're trying to survive on Mars, and this isn't the sort of RPG where no matter what choice you make, it all comes out the same at the end, right?
No, every choices you will make will have an importance in the story, and even the way you solve the quest. If you, for example, you decide to kill everyone, or instead you using your stealth abilities and you avoid killing anyone, it will have an impact on the story, because of course the different factions will not react the same. If you're the gentle guy, you is always using charisma or diplomacy to solve your problems, you will not have the same allies and you will not have the same quest than if you're the very fighting guy who will kill everyone.
So is there a right way and a wrong way to play, or are all the ways pretty even, just depending on personal preference?
There is no right or wrong way. It's up to you. It's depending on how you like to play. If you like to do a lot of combats, well, there is, of course, a rule story for you. If you like to be more diplomat, or if you like to, invent some very strange way to because you can use also your crafting skills to solve your problems. So it's, well, really. I think it's a game that can really adapt to all the players, and we want heavy choices to be important, and if a player wants to completely change his way of playing a second time, he will experience a new story. So
you're saying that the story, it does sound like it's a fairly long, complicated story here. This isn't one that you could just knock over in an afternoon.
It's a bit complicated story, because there is, of course, political factions that will try to take you with them in some, very important steps that will change the course of the planet, of course. So And there are, of course, some smaller quests with that are more intimate because that's your story and the story of your companions. Because some companions can join you during your journey, and some can be some romantic interest. So, well, plenty of stories to do, plenty of quests to solve. Some more personal and some more, huge and political. So, yeah.
Maybe I am a little more outspoken than others. What can I say? You were lucky that you can leave your place of birth. How many have had such luck?
Don't let him get away! Make him bleed! Kill him! You looking for trouble?
This is a game that some people might not have heard of, but it has been in development for a while. What's the sort of background? How did we get here for you guys with the Technomancer?
Well, the development began 2 years ago, but in fact, the game is set in the same universe as a small game we did some years ago, which was called Mars Warlogs, but we were a very small studio back then, and we had no money, and so we did a small game, but we had already in mind some ideas to do a bigger story and to use more plainly this universe that is very important to us, because we created the studio thinking already at this universe. So, well, now that we had a bigger team, a little more money, the support of a publisher, it was finally the time to do this game we dreamed of for years. So, well, I hope your players will enjoy it, because we did.
What sort of player would you recommend should get their hands on the Technomancer?
Well, of course, RPG players mostly, but if you liked New Vegas, for example, or because there is the same kind of faction system, if you like, the two Knight of the Old Republic games, there is the same type of involvement of the companions in the story. Well, I think that these players, if they like these games, they will probably like the Technomancer too.
Life's what you make of it, and I want to make it an adventure. So if you're looking for some dangerous escapades, I know a girl.
Such is our world. They're pawns in a chess game played by imbeciles. Take care, Zachariah. Take care.
People like you always want to be the hero. The problem with being a hero is you have to be willing to die for what you believe in.
We are here at EA Play to see Titanfall 2, and with me is John. John, how's it been so far?
It's been amazing. The reaction from people is everything I hoped for.
What are they responding to the most?
So we have our multiplayer playable here, and so there's a lot of people coming out who want to tell me how much they like the grappling hook, and there's a new game mode we're showing. There's a lot of new stuff in there, and so this is the reward for when you've been working on a game for 2 years and you can't talk about it, and then you finally get to show it off. It's really fun hearing what people think.
I got like a hands-on round with it then. The grappling hook is crazy fun, and one of the things I really like is that as a man, you're not completely useless in this one. Like, you can grapple onto them and like beat them up. What other cool things can you do as just a pilot in this?
So we have a new slide mechanic where you also get a speed boost just like wall running, and you can chain together the wall runs into a slide, and you can even use the grappling hook to keep it going. But the grappling hook also is a lot more versatile than you would first expect. So you can use it to grapple and kind of slingshot yourself around corners or over top things. And it's something that takes a little bit longer to really understand how to use it best. but it's really satisfying.
I managed to hook a guy off a building and then shoot him, so I felt pretty good about that. The new mechs as well. Let's talk about those. There was a big old rumbly one I was playing as a fired thermite or something.
So we have 6 all-new Titans in Titanfall 2. So with the 2 we're showing off here is Scorch, which is, he's all about fire. And so you see he has thermite, he's got flame wall, he's got all these things that are really interesting once you learn how to use it and what to expect when someone's using it against you. And then we also have the Ion Titan, which is about laser energy. And so he's got the laser core that you saw. And so it's really interesting when you see that Titan come around a corner. You can kind of start to predict of like what to expect, what to do against what their attacks are. And so there's a little bit more tactical gameplay in Titanfall 2 than there was last time.
There's also a lot of verticality. Like I noticed I could get off the street up high and I was pretty much could sneak around kind of like a Batman of the Titanfall area. Is that going to be utilized in a lot of the multiplayer maps?
Yeah, so the Titanfall is all about mobility. And so the pilots, they can get anywhere, and we love it. It's part of our core push on this, is we want people to be able to feel like they can go anywhere, they can go fast, they can move around. And you have the Titans, which is kind of this interesting counterplay of big and small. And so you might go into a building and then see a giant Titan looking in with his gun. And so we wanted to kind of create a lot of dynamic things around that idea of big and small and high mobility and high power.
Can we expect an era of customization as well? Because I know in the last one, all I really wanted to do was rock around in a giant pink mech. Can we expect a level of customization there?
So yeah, in Titanfall 2, you're going to be able to customize both your pilot and your Titan. And we're not going into all the details yet, but we're going to have a lot of customization options. And so there's different ways of customizing your Titan, get it look exactly how you want.
And we should probably address the giant mechanized elephant in the room here. Single player. We've got single player this time.
We do. We have a full single-player offline campaign, and it's something that has been a big push inside the company, and it's something we're really proud of.
One of the things that's coming across a lot in so far the press that's been done for it is that the mechs have personalities now. Can we expect some sort of heartbreaking Iron Giant thing going on here?
So yeah, you saw in the single-player trailer, so it's a story about Rifleman Jack Cooper, who dreams of becoming a pilot someday. And he's sort of thrust behind enemy lines to become one with BT, who's the Titan that is the single Titan that the player will be working with, getting to know throughout our single-player campaign. And so it's a very story-based thing, and it's pretty different from anything we've made in the past.
Well, it looks pretty rad, and the other thing that's pretty cool too is PS4 now as well.
Yep, the game is out on PS4, or it's coming out on PS4. You played it today on PS4. Runs at 60 frames a second. It looks gorgeous. It's everything that we wanted to get out of that platform. So before launch, we're going to be doing a multiplayer tech test. We're not announcing any more details quite yet, but it's something that we're going to be doing before launch so that we can test all the new systems we built, new matchmaking, new ways of running servers, a whole lot of new multiplayer features that we built. And we want to get feedback from players and make sure that it's going to be rock solid for launch. So before ship, we're going to have a multiplayer technical test, and I hope everybody joins it.
I wouldn't try so hard. You'll live longer.
And that's just about it for this edition of Player Attack, but we've got one more tidbit to share with you. Next week, it's all about Battlefield 1. We went hands-on with the game at a special EA Play event, we chatted to DICE, and we've compiled our thoughts into one supersized FPS special for you. Here's a sneaky peek at our exclusive footage, and we've got plenty more where that came from.
We have taken objective apples. We are winning. We have taken objective Freddy. We have taken objective apples.
In the meantime, you can catch us at playerattack.com. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And if you've got something you want to say, send us an email, mailbox@playerattack.com, or just hop on our forums. Also, if you want to support Player Attack, you can find us on Patreon and help us bring you the latest in gaming news, plus all these wonderful interviews and reviews from the world of video games. Till next week, I'm Jessica Citizen, and this is Player Attack.